You're casually scrolling your phone, maybe enjoying a quiet morning. But far away, warships are positioning, missiles are being fueled, and satellites are tracking every move. The world stands on the edge of something catastrophic. If global conflict breaks out, which countries would disappear first? Which cities would go up in flames before anyone could even react? And if you're living in one of these zones, you're not just in a country, you're in a countdown. Today we're counting down the top 10 countries that would be destroyed first in World War III. This isn't science fiction. This is based on real-world military strategies. Defense alliances like NATO, and existing flashpoints like Taiwan, Ukraine, and the South China Sea. This list will open your eyes to how fragile peace really is, and how fast the world could change overnight. These are not just countries, they're homes, histories, and millions of lives all at risk in the unthinkable event of a global war. So stick around as we dive deep into the politics, geography, and raw military facts behind each nation's vulnerability. Because once World War III begins, the world as we know it may never be the same again. Let's get started. Number 10, Poland. Poland may seem like a quiet, stable country tucked away in Central Europe, but in the event of a global conflict, it could be one of the very first nations to be hit, and fast. We're not talking hours of warning, we're talking minutes. Because Poland is more than just a member of NATO. It's a frontline state in a much larger power struggle. With thousands of American and NATO troops deployed on its soil, as well as air bases prepped for rapid response, Poland is a key military hub. That status makes it a prime target. Any hostile force aiming to cripple NATO early on would likely strike Poland first, hoping to knock out its critical infrastructure before it can be used. The nation has over 36 million citizens and a GDP of around $89 billion. Its strategic location next to Russia's Kaliningrad, one of the most militarized and heavily armed regions in Europe, only increases the danger. It's easy to assume that being part of a powerful alliance means protection. But in a surprise attack, those alliances also put you on the radar. If a third world war breaks out in Europe, Poland won't just be at risk. It could be ground zero. And that's a chilling thought. Number 9, Ukraine. Ukraine is already making headlines around the world. But those headlines barely reveal the real danger. This isn't just a war-torn nation. It's the epicenter of a geopolitical storm with the potential to ignite global catastrophe. Wedged between NATO allies and Russian forces, Ukraine's geography makes it a prime target and a prime battleground. Every inch of land here holds strategic value. And in the event of a global war, Ukraine wouldn't just be a front line, it would be a priority strike zone. The aim wouldn't be just to conquer it, but to control or destroy it before the other side can gain ground. People often think the first countries to fall are weak. That's not always true. Sometimes they're simply too important to be left standing. Ukraine is one of those nations. The tension, the military buildup, the foreign interests. It all turns Ukraine into a flashpoint. If things escalate globally, this is one of the first places where the world would feel the fire, fast and without warning. Number 8, Lithuania. Lithuania may be small in size, but in the event of a world war, its significance becomes dangerously large. Many overlook this quiet Baltic nation, but military strategists know it as one of the most volatile flashpoints in Europe. Why? Because of the Suwałki Gap, a narrow 60-mile corridor between Lithuania and Poland. If war erupts, this gap becomes NATO's weakest link. A sudden military strike designed not to take major cities, but to cut off Lithuania and the other Baltic states from the rest of NATO. In minutes, 2.8 million people could find themselves surrounded, with nowhere to flee and no time to react. Lithuania's GDP is just under $88 billion, and its defense infrastructure is minimal. No deep territory to retreat into, no wide buffer zones. If missiles rain down, they'll hit instantly. War simulations run again and again show Lithuania as one of the first to fall, not because it's weak, but because it's essential. And here's what makes it even more dangerous. Lithuania is part of NATO and the EU. An attack here means dozens of countries must respond. A single strike could set off a global chain reaction. So why is this hotspot so often ignored? Maybe because the risk is too real to face. Number 7, Taiwan. A name that's become a regular in global headlines. Tensions with China, warships circling, warnings exchanged. But what most don't realize is that in a global war, Taiwan wouldn't be a side story. It would be the ignition point. This island isn't just a piece of land. It's the epicenter of the US-China standoff, and its fall could reshape the world overnight. With 23 million people and a GDP of approximately $751 billion, Taiwan is an economic heavyweight packed onto a small piece of land. It's also the heart of the global semiconductor industry, home to the factories that produce chips found in everything from smartphones to fighter jets. If those factories go dark, the world doesn't just lose a country. It loses progress, production, and security. Taiwan is heavily militarized and prepared for conflict, but experts say it may still be overwhelmed in a surprise attack. A first strike could disable its defenses before it even reacts. Positioned between two military giants, China and the US, Taiwan isn't just in the middle of a map. It's in the middle of a crisis waiting to explode. One wrong signal, one political misstep, and Taiwan could vanish in the opening minutes of World War III. Number 6, South Korea. South Korea is a global leader in technology, innovation, and pop culture. But beneath its high-speed internet and vibrant cities lies a sobering truth. It's one of the most vulnerable countries in the world during wartime. Every morning, more than 51 million South Koreans start their day within striking distance of a hostile neighbor. Just 35 miles north of Seoul lies the demilitarized zone, where thousands of North Korean artillery units are pointed directly at the South's capital. In a surprise attack, experts believe over 10,000 shells could hit Seoul within the first 60 minutes, before missiles or airstrikes are even launched. With a gross domestic product approaching $1.7 trillion, South Korea ranks among the top 15 economies globally. Its economic hubs, ports, semiconductor plants, and factories are crucial to global trade but dangerously exposed. In a full-scale war, they'd be some of the first targets. Here's what many don't realize. The Korean War never truly ended. There's no peace treaty, only a fragile ceasefire. Any sudden escalation could pull in U.S. forces and ignite a regional or even global war. South Korea may seem like a high-tech success story, but it's sitting on a geopolitical fault line that could rupture without warning. Number 5, Japan. When most people think of Japan, they picture cutting-edge technology, peaceful cherry blossom festivals, and ultra-fast bullet trains. But behind this modern image lies a stark and dangerous truth. Japan could be one of the first countries hit if a global war breaks out. Surrounded by some of the world's most unpredictable powers, China, North Korea, and Russia, Japan finds itself in a tense neighborhood. It's located between highly militarized zones, and while it hasn't been involved in a full-scale war since World War II, that peace may not last forever. Japan's economy is one of the largest on Earth, with a GDP topping $4.4 trillion and a population exceeding 125 million. But economic strength doesn't mean safety. In fact, it paints a bigger target. The country hosts dozens of U.S. military bases, equipped with strategic airfields and key naval ports. That military presence, while meant to deter aggression, could make Japan an early priority for enemy missiles. In the event of war, cities like Okinawa, Yokosuka, and even Tokyo could be hit within minutes. Missile shields help, but they're not foolproof, especially against a fast, coordinated strike. Japan rebuilt once after nuclear destruction. A second chance might not come. Number 4, Israel. Israel stands as one of the most fortified nations on the planet, yet that very strength makes it a prime target in the event of a global war. This small but powerful country has endured decades of conflict, missile attacks, and regional hostilities. But if World War III begins in the Middle East, Israel could find itself under fire within minutes. Why? Because Israel isn't just a country, it's a geopolitical pressure point. It's surrounded by adversaries, entangled in rivalries, and sits at the intersection of global interests and deep-rooted hatred. Any conflict here could spark international chaos. In response to constant threats, Israel has built one of the most sophisticated defense systems in existence, highlighted by the Iron Dome. But no system is perfect. Israel's 9 million citizens live in a compact area, making widespread damage far more likely if overwhelmed. Its nearly $500 billion GDP shows its resilience, but in full-blown warfare, economic power means little if rockets rain down. Cyber attacks, drone swarms, and missile barrages from multiple fronts could overwhelm even the best defenses. And while Israel's allies offer powerful support, that support may also make it a high-value target. In a global war, Israel might not just be caught in the crossfire, it could be the very ignition point. Number 3, Germany. Germany stands tall as one of Europe's most stable and powerful nations. But stability doesn't mean safety, especially in a global war. Sitting at the center of NATO, Germany isn't just part of the map, it's a nerve center. And in any major conflict, nerve centers are prime targets. With over 84 million people and a GDP topping $4.5 trillion, Germany is the engine of Europe. But that engine relies heavily on energy pipelines, global trade, and digital networks that can be severed in seconds. A single major cyber attack or missile strike could bring entire sectors to a standstill. Germany also hosts key U.S. military assets like Ramstein Air Base and U.S. European Command. These installations are essential for NATO's global logistics, making them high-value targets in any war. While Germany has begun modernizing its forces, years of neglect have left gaps. Its equipment is aging, and its armed forces, though professional, aren't sized for sustained warfare. If war erupts in Europe, Germany won't have the luxury of distance or time. It will be right in the blast zone, caught between defending the alliance and being one of the first to bleed. Number 2, United Kingdom. Once the ruler of a global empire, the United Kingdom today faces a chilling reality. Its future could be threatened in mere minutes. Many view Britain as distant from conflict, shielded by the sea and separated from the chaos of Europe. But in the era of modern warfare, geography is no longer protection. Distance offers no safety. Britain isn't just an ally of the United States. It's a critical launch platform. Its bases, naval ports, and early warning systems are key pillars of NATO's defense strategy. That makes the UK an automatic target if global war breaks out. Missile strikes wouldn't wait for debate in Parliament. They'd aim straight for facilities like RAF Fylingdales or Menwith Hill, central to intelligence sharing with the US. With 67 million people and a GDP of over $3.3 trillion, the UK is a vital hub of finance and military coordination. But that influence also paints a target. A successful cyber or kinetic strike on London's financial networks could ripple across the world economy. Despite its military legacy, Britain's armed forces have shrunk over time. Its Trident nuclear deterrent is concentrated in one location, Scotland, a single point of failure. In modern warfare, speed is everything, and for the UK it may be over before it even begins. Number 1, Italy. Italy, a country celebrated for its cuisine, art, and ancient wonders, may seem like a peaceful bystander in global affairs. But in the event of a world war, Italy's beauty won't shield it. In fact, it may become one of the most exposed nations in Europe. Many overlook Italy when discussing military hotspots. Yet it hosts some of the most important U.S. bases on the continent. Installations like Aviano Air Base and Naval Support Activity Naples are central hubs for NATO activity in the Mediterranean. That makes them top targets if a major conflict ignites. Italy has a population of over 58 million and an economy nearing $2 trillion. Still, it suffers from a lack of military investment, outdated equipment, and internal disagreements over defense policies, factors that leave it dangerously unprepared. Its massive 7,000-kilometer coastline is nearly impossible to secure, making Italy vulnerable to amphibious assaults, naval raids, or drone strikes. Its economy, heavily reliant on imports and maritime trade, could collapse with a single hit to ports like Genoa or Trieste. Italy's NATO membership means it won't sit on the sidelines. It will be on the front lines. And in a modern war, the country of ruins may tragically become a ruin itself. And there you have it. The 10 countries most likely to be hit first if World War III begins. From global powers to strategic hotspots, these nations sit on the front line of a future no one wants to see. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. Because in today's world, geography, history, and alliances can turn any country into a battlefield overnight. So, what do you think? Did any of these countries surprise you? Do you believe your country would be safe or targeted? Let's talk about it in the comments below. If you found this video eye-opening, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dive global insights, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you never miss what comes next. Thanks for watching.